that's called Seichel Hanikno. And one of the Inyanim we find, for example, that certain animals can be trained to do certain action. Now that doesn't mean that that's their action, but the real natural creation. Naturally they don't do that. But if you continuously train them and get them accustomed, according to this ability that they have a certain minimal ability to link together ever-recurring Indian, that must have something to do with action. And so they can put it together. In the same way, it's brought down that that's the cycle of the Nefesh Abamis, that he's like trained. He's trained to do what the midas tell him, and what the midas would really want, just like when you're training a dog. Now, you might say, well, that's being a bit nasty, a dog. So you should realize that there's a famous medrash which says that why is a dog called a kedev? Because the word kedev makes kulei lev. He's all heart and not brain. He's all heart but not brain. And therefore I want to say that that's the Indian of the Nefesh Abami. The Nefesh Abami, he's a kedev because he's kulei lev. He is all heart. And the brain part of it, only just like you can train a dog to do certain things. It looks as though you say, oh, well, that's a clever dog. It's not that he's really a clever dog. He's just been trained well. And he has a certain trace in his makeup of being able to put things together after a lot of training. In the same way, that's why the Alter Rebbe brings first the midas, and he brings that all the 10 powers of the Nefesh Abamis are crowns, just like the midas are crowns. And then he says that there's a seichel afterwards, hamolidon, which brings them, as it were, into being. But it's like, enslaved. And he said that's chokmah, bina v'das, just similar to what it is in kedusha. However, the reason that your midas come first, and they're the boss, and they're the main crowns which push things around, is because you don't really have any power of depth and profundity in the moichin of the Nefesh Abamis, which could help you, first of all, go the right way. In other words, we see that in Kedusha you have, first of all, Chokmah, then you have Bina, and then what does Das do? Das helps you to give forth the midah, to bring forth emotional traits. And that's what he brought in Perek Gimel. At the end, a whole piece about Das, how it gives birth to the midas in a meaningful, a lasting way. Here, there's a famous passage from the Rabbi Rasha, but he said even though he mentions here Das, he doesn't mean that really the klippa has Das. It doesn't really have Das in the sense that it can produce midas on its own. It couldn't do that. It's got Das in the sense that it's got enough ability to be obstinate about what it's already decided to justify. In other words, there's a certain obstinacy, and that obstinacy is also produced by the midas. That really comes from the midas that are already there, mitzad the elementary powers, mitzad the actual born-in powers of the Odom. They're already there, and they produce a certain binding over and a certain obstinacy. What that starts in Kedusha, being bound over and being committed, that's what eventually gives rise to the emotional traits. The emotional traits come out and are born out of the sex. Here, first of all, everything is crowns, everything says it's the boss, everything bosses you around, and then the midas come first, and they come in an elementary, inborn way. They're there in the physical makeup of the person, and then the moichin just sort of, follow along at the end, and they also have a bit of das, but not genuine das. It's das out of mitzat klippa. So how does it all start? How does the whole thing get to such a situation that there can be this bossing and then this midas, this elements and the whole thing, and the brain is being, drawn along like a lackey, the whole thing? How does it all happen? So that's where the Alter Rebbe stresses that it all comes from klippas neiga. It doesn't start off with absolute klippa. It's klippas neiga. So what is klippas neiga? What's, as it were, what's the fault of klippas neiga? This illuminated klippa, this delicate klippa which is like between Kedusha and the real klippas. What's its problem? So it's brought down in Kedusha in Siddhis at great length. Also in other svarim, that the Indian of klippas neiga is feeling the self. The Indian of klippas neiga is wanting to do things because you want them for yourself. You reckon this is good for you, therefore you want it. And it could be that you can dress it up in Kedusha. And it could be that it has a certain little achiza in Kedusha, but you want it for yourself. The beginning of all problem, according to Tanya, is Klippas Neig. If you look carefully in this parak, and the next parak, which is parak Zion, and everywhere, the Ikka lead in to evil and into Klippas in general is Klippas Neig. And it's got all the inyan. It's already got the 10 powers of Tumah, it's already got everything. It's already made up in not the right way for Wuz, because the whole inyan of Klippas Noiga is filling the self. They're running after what you would like for yourself. And the whole inyan for Kedusha is the other way. The whole inyan for Kedusha, I ask, what does Hashem really want here? What is the kavanah? What is good for me to do? What is worthy for me to do? You know, what's going to bring the right results according to Ratzon Hashem? Yeah, what do I do in order to carry that out? That's Chokhmah Bina V'Das, how they are in Kedusha. And Das particularly is the commitment to that. In Liyum Hazeh, it's like a strange sort of obstinacy to be committed to doing what the midas have only pushed you into thinking. So Hashem should help us not to be involved in Klippas Neig and to, how do you call it, sign an everlasting agreement with the Nefesh Elokis.